I want to address using the ringer release with a wrist strap. So that's how I personally shoot the ringer 90% of the time, is I shoot it with a wrist strap. And people talk about what adjustment feel is correct. This is, again, like we talked about with the thumb peg, completely up to the individual. I like to set my wrist strap at the third hole in. That's where it's comfortable on my wrist. It's not too tight. Some people want it really, really snug. I want it so I can move it a little bit either way. And when you look at the ringer, you can see where it actually sits on my hand. So you would think it would be a little bit less, but what it does in this position, it gives me about a 50-50 pull. I get about 50% on the wrist strap here on my wrist and about 50% in these two fingers that I pull the release back. And even though this looks uncomfortable, when you get into the position to shoot, you can see that my fingers fall right into the grooves. My hand is straight and I'm pulling back. I get my ring finger on the trigger and relax my pinky finger. If you are putting tension in your pinky finger up here like this, it's hard for you to compress this finger, your ring finger, and make the release go off. If you relax this pinky finger and get it behind, basically what you're going to do is you're just going to pull through it and it's going to go off. It's a simple motion, but that's how I set it. Now, people that like shoot it without or with a thumb peg, some people shoot it without anything. What they'll do is they'll take and they'll extend all this all the way out so the release is way up here in their hands. And they use 90% of their, or 100% of their fingers to pull it back, and they just use the wrist strap for support, so they don't lose it. And they use the same motion that they're going to with the thumb peg and just pull through it, and it goes off. Personal preference, 100%. You want to play with that. If it is too far back in your hand, you're going to have issues getting it to go off because you can't get it compressed. If your fingers are buried into the release like this, you can't get your finger to compress and make it go off. So I found that you want the release when you're pulling it back to be in these two pads, yes, you want them to be in these two pads, whether it's 50-50 on your hand or 100% up here or 70-30 or however that combination is that makes you feel better. And play with that, and a little bit makes a big difference in shooting the ringer release.